I look really bad today. I look crusty because I feel crusty. Yeah, I don't feel the best today. Okay. I feel okay. So I'm probably gonna call this journal entry number 1 because there will likely be 3 journal entries in this video. And I think I'm going to probably name this video Help, I Am By Myself. So from the last time we spoke, I was basically giving you guys a heads up on some of the changes that would be occurring with me. And it's funny how God works. It's funny how life works, because everything that I said has completely changed again. And I mean, it's changed for the better. I'm sorry if I'm all up in your face, guys. It's changed for the better, but this change came out of left field. So today's Friday. Today's the 20th of July. And I went to work yesterday on the 19th. I went to the clinic where I was practicing, or where I practice with the pediatrician, because if you guys remember, they're training me to do peds. So I have been working with this pediatrician who is expected to go out on leave, and eventually, you guys know the story already. If you don't, go look at the other video. So I get there 8 and change, because I'm gonna start at 9. So I get there and I notice that, you know, she's not in her office, which is not anything alarming, because sometimes, you know, traffic can cause you to come late, or maybe she had an appointment, whatever. I'm just sitting, I'm waiting. So I'm sitting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm sitting and I'm sitting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm sitting. And I noticed that her panel, I'm able to log into the system. I can see her panel. I look at her panel. Her panel doesn't have any patients scheduled for the day, which is a little strange, because she's a very popular and great doctor. She's a very popular doctor in that community. People love to, you know, follow up with their appointments, keep up with their appointments. So she's always busy. I look at her panel's empty. I'm like, okay. After sitting for about an hour, the nurse manager came to me and was like, oh, they didn't tell you? I'm like, tell me what? She had her baby. So I'm like, okay, first things first, that's great. That's great news. Congratulations. But then I'm like, okay, number 1, the first things first wasn't like, what, number 1? This is number 1. Number 1, who was gonna tell me this? The whole time I've been sitting here, nobody said anything, and y'all walked past me like how many times? That's number 1. Number 2, this is definitely a little bit out of sequence, because she was supposed to go out on leave in August. I believe the 2nd week of August was when she was projected to actually say, okay, I'm done. I'll see you guys in hopefully 3 months. And by then, they've arranged for a pediatrician to come from another site and take over her panel, or just, you know, cover her in the meantime. So I'm like, this happened a little bit early. What's the plan? What's going on? And number 3, what am I supposed to be doing today? So there was a pediatrician who was actually sent from another site to that location. Not the pediatrician that's going to be covering her, but a pediatrician. So the nurse manager says, I'm going to introduce you to Dr. such and such, and you'll probably be working with him today. So, and I'm not even going to tell, I wasn't even offended, but when she introduced me to the doctor, and she basically says, you know, Dr. so-and-so has been working with her. She's been shadowing, or, you know, just working with her, so to speak. And she's here today. He was like, I'm not taking anybody. And it's funny because I see this type of practice when it comes to new nurses on the unit, and you have the senior nurses who are like, I'm not orienting, I'm not precepting, and they kind of say it in a way that can be a little offensive, because immediately you think it's you. You're like, is it me? Like, what's the problem? She has a problem with me, or like, did she hear something about me, or what's going on? But most times it has nothing to do with you personally. It's just that the person that's being approached is either overwhelmed, or they don't have the time, or they probably had a negative experience working with, you know, I guess training someone. So when he says, I'm not working with anybody, I just, you know, I chuckled. And I'm like, I will just go home. I have no problem just grabbing my bags, going home, and not getting paid for the day. It's not even that deep. I'm not pressed for the money. But the nurse manager was like, no, what you're gonna do, call the CMO and see if he wants you to go back to the other site, the site that I was originally at, where I was practicing with my supervisor, and we were basically taking care of adults. So I called and they said, yes, we're sorry, we forgot to tell you. We didn't send you an email. You're gonna have to go back to the other site and work with your supervisor. So no problem. I go to my original site, and you know, it's a pretty slow day. He had like other students, like other nursing students from my school, my old school, and the nurse manager at this site pulls me aside and was like, I'm just gonna let you know that next week, Thursday and Friday, you're the only provider here. I'm like, what you mean? I'm in my mind and in my spirit, in my heart, I'm like, girl, no. But I'm trying to keep it cool, you know? So I asked her to further, I'm like, what do you mean by that? Can you clarify what you're telling me? Apparently my supervisor is not going to be here next week. The other internal medicine physician is not going to be here next week. Yeah, she's not going to be here next week. And the pediatrician, I believe, is also not going to be here next week. So I just thank God that I'm a nurse. You know, I thank God I'm a nurse first, because at least I got some type of common sense and I got some type of knowledge. Like if I was coming in fresh, I don't think I would even consider coming in next Thursday and Friday. But I said, you know what, Kim, this is probably going to be the ultimate test for you. I found it a little bit ironic because this is July, and in the hospitals, and even, I mean, I'm not sure if it's like this in the clinic. I doubt it's like this in the clinic, but in the hospital, I have a lot of people who are nurses who follow me, so shout outs to y'all, and y'all could probably attest to this. But July is always that weird month, June, July, because this is when you have all of the new residents, like the straight out of school, straight, you know, newly accepted into whatever program or fellowship or whatever it is that the hospital has going on. This is the month where you have all of the new people, and most times things are not going according to tradition or according to the protocol, because they don't know the protocol, they don't know what to do, and they basically will rely on those experienced nurses or even assistant personnel, CNAs, PCTs. They could probably be like, no doc, this is how it's supposed to be done, this is what you're supposed to be doing. The irony is that I'm feeling the same way. Like, it's July and I'm brand new, and I said to myself, because I know how the nurses feel when the doctors don't know what they're doing and they act like they know what they're doing. If I don't know, I don't know, but I do have a problem with asking for help, because I feel that I can do things on my own. I can try to figure it out, but this isn't the capacity to do so, because I'm dealing with people, I'm dealing with lives, with patients and health. So I said to myself, I think I'm gonna be okay. All I need to do is really rely on the strengths of the people who have been here and the people who actually know what they're doing. I'm always on the fence about missing things, not catching certain things. That's where my concern is, because in the hospital, at least, if the doctor misses something, the nurse is gonna catch it. Like, I would rely on myself to catch it, because I'm a pretty prudent nurse. But here, I don't know, like, if I miss something, who will be able to catch it? Like, what if I don't associate a certain lab with a medication? What if I don't notice that the patient needed this? Or, you know, it's just, my brain is just in that place where it's like a little bit doubtful. I'm kind of doubtful, but I'm trying not to, because what is doubt gonna do for me now? Like, you know. So I said all of this to say that this is probably going to be I don't know. When I look back on this, I don't know what I'm gonna say. I don't know how things are gonna be proceeding next week, but I just wanted to give you guys just a little heads up of what's to come, and I will follow up with you guys on Thursday. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. I have to whisper because I'm in the office. Okay, so today's Thursday, the 26th of July, and I believe like today's really like the day that I was talking about, like entry number 2. So what's going on? I'm kind of like by myself, but not really by myself, meaning that my supervisor isn't here, but there are 2 other doctors that have come from other locations to work here today, and I can basically refer to them if I have any questions or concerns or whatever. So what they're doing with me is they're really starting me off pretty slow, giving me all of the walk-ins and any of the lab like results, follow-ups and stuff like that, just to kind of get my feet wet. And then same thing when we, I guess, will take place tomorrow. So what I've done to basically kind of just ease some of like my anxiety and my nerves was I studied like pretty much all like weekend, and every chance that I got. Like yesterday I went to jury duty, and I brought my like family nurse practitioner. So it's an intense review, so I used it basically just to kind of go over all of like the main to the point things that I need to know about all of the main diagnoses and commonly seen issues here at the clinic. As well as this morning I have Medscape and the American Family Physician websites up, so that I can basically, if you know I'm a little bit unsure about what a guideline is, I can just log on really quickly, see what they recommend, and then follow that, because basically it's all about what guidelines are, what the practices are, what the recommendations are, and basically just going with that for the most part. So it's going good so far. I haven't seen anybody yet, but they're starting to add people to my panel, so I'm just actually just prepping, looking at whatever I guess like their reason for their not the chief complaint, but like whatever the clerk or whoever is in the front desk, whatever they're putting as the reason for the patient coming. I'm just going over everything so I can understand and get a sense of what I'm gonna ask them, what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna check in with you guys later. Bye.
Forever. One eternity later.
So I'm home now. I just want you guys to see my face. I look much fresher at 9 o'clock this morning. It's now 5 o'clock. I look like I've been through it all. Okay, so I honestly, I'm trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, because I want to tell y'all about the day and wash the day off. So after I spoke with you guys at 9, it was like maybe 10 o'clock. I think it was like 9:45. I spoke with you guys. Like 10 o'clock, I get a overhead page like, Miss such and such, please call the front desk. I don't know how to call the front desk. So then as soon as I'm walking out, I see the nursing supervisor, so to speak, or the manager. Like the nursing manager, but she's the one that I fall between like nursing and, you know, the doctors. I don't know. So she's like, yeah, they want you on the other side of pediatrics. I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, yeah, one of the admins want to speak with you. So I'm thinking it's just like to meet me, just you know, hold on a second. Yeah, so I'm thinking it's just to meet me, just to like introduce themselves. So one of the admins was like, yeah, Dr. such and such isn't here today. She got stuck and we need you on this side. So I'm like, on the inside, you know, and outside I'm like, oh, okay, no problem. So what they did was they paired me up with another provider who is relatively new. She's a pediatrician. She's been practicing for like 24 years, since 94. That's like 24 years. And the problem with her is that since she's new, some of like the credentialing and clearance for insurance is taking some time. Mine is clear because I've applied like many moons ago. So they're like, okay, you're gonna work with her. Now, you saw how I was looking when I came on camera like a minute ago. I'm like dizzy, okay? Like, not literally, figuratively, but like, today was a lot. And it's so funny because we didn't have a lot of patients, she and I think what they did was they put a few patients on my panel and a few on hers, but for the most part we've seen most of the patients like together, because I explained to her like, listen, I'm new here too. The pediatrician that I was working with has gone out on leave, so I'm still in the learning process, and I will absorb whatever it is that you can give me, you know. And she's very sweet, so she was like, yeah, no problem. So it wasn't so much of like me being by myself today, because I wasn't by myself, I had her. But it's just knowing all this stuff. Like, adults are not as complicated as children. Adults are complicated, don't get me wrong, but children, peds, my God, knowing when immunizations, knowing when to, what is what, knowing that, then I have to calculate dosaging, and that, like, for some reason, I don't know what was taking me so, like, why it was so difficult for me to actually grasp that concept. But let me wash my face, hold on. Yeah, so it's just like, the concept to me was so hard for me to like get, because I would do it one way and I would get an answer, but somebody else would do it a simpler way, and they would get the same answer, but then I can't remember how I did my way, and then I go online and online is telling me something different. I'm like, girl, this is too much. So that was taking me some time, and it was like maybe at this point 1 o'clock, and I should have gone on break at like 12, 1 o'clock. I'm still like sitting there like trying to figure out. I spent like a lot of time just trying to make sure I'm going over everything, that I'm not missing anything, and even the encounters with each and every single patient, which is the parent and the child, okay? It was like, I gotta ask about the parents, I gotta ask about firearms, the safety of the house, lead screening, this, that, then jumping back, because the parents are asking you questions in the middle, and it's like, yo, I was dizzy today. But I thank God for the nurses. Man, nurses are a godsend. They really, in addition to the doctor, don't get me wrong, she was amazing, but the nurses really they really helped me down. I was like, yo, which of these am I supposed to be ordering, because you guys have 4 different types of hepatitis shots here. Like, what am I supposed to, this one's like, now you order this one, you order that, whatever. So all in all, today went well. Tomorrow's going to be a different case, because tomorrow I'm not going to be with peds. Both of the pediatricians are going to be there, so I'm going to be back on the other side with the adults. So I just came to wash the day off, give you guys a little, you know, and I will just see you guys tomorrow.
Okay, so it is Friday the 27th of July, and this is the final like entry, journal entry in this series. So today is going pretty okay. I'm on the adult side, and sorry, I'm with a provider, very sweet lady, who doesn't really work. She works for the, you know, for the organization, but she doesn't work at my site. She works in another location. So she came in and, you know, basically introduced herself and asked me like what is her function as it pertains to me, because what they're doing, like I really have like my own patients. So she wanted to know, is she supposed to be overseeing, you know, what I'm doing, or closing out on my notes, or what exactly is her purpose? So you know, we've basically come to the conclusion that I can refer to her if I have any questions, comments, concerns, or any issues. But for the most part, I'm like just practicing solo. So far today, it's a slow day. It's 2 o'clock. I've been here since 9. I've only seen 4 patients on my own. One was a lab. Oh, this is on my hand, child. One was a like wanted to know lab results. One wanted to get clearance to return to work. One needed a refill on medications, as well as titers for school. And I can't remember the other person. But I mean, I know like what I'm saying sounds light because it's like it's not that deep, but I feel pretty okay. I feel like this is a good way for me to get my feet wet, for me to transition. So eventually when I get my, like, they really start to give me my own patients, I won't feel like overwhelmed and flustered. So I think that's how the rest of the day is gonna pretty much go. Like I said, it's really slow in the clinic because the main providers are not here, therefore their patients are not scheduled to come. It's only if somebody has an emergency or like some last minute walk-in. So this week has been pretty good. It's been pretty good. I still feel a little nervous, but not as nervous as I felt last week Thursday when I was told that I was going to be by myself. So, you know, I'm just looking forward. I'm just looking forward to see where this journey is going to take me, and to see like how I progress and how I can say grow, how I can grow as a provider. I do want to make a couple of videos just comparing and contrasting the role of an RN and the role of a nurse practitioner, considering that I'm both, as well as, you know, just answering some school questions and stuff like that. So those will be coming up in future Nurses Corner videos. But for the most part, guys, we're just gonna end this here today, and I'll see you guys by my next one.